Okay, North and South, chapter 51. The narrator is back in London. Margaret's dressing for a dinner party, and Mr. Thornton will be in that dinner party. So she's a bit nervous about meeting him again. What we see here is Mr. Thornton again talking about, Gaskell, showing us how Mr. Thornton has changed. And we can see the influence of Margaret here. I felt that I was on the right path and that starting with a kind of friendship with one, meaning Higgins, I was becoming acquainted with many of his workers. The advantages were mutual. We were both unconsciously and consciously teaching each other. So again, this sense that by knowing one from the other side, so to speak, you become more empathetic towards each other, and there's less conflict and there's more partnership. Notice the kind of respectful language here. The advantages were mutual. We were both unconsciously and consciously teaching each other. So he doesn't sort of, it's a respectful, not a patronising use of language here. They're both teaching each other. And that, of course, mirrors Gaskell's kind of idea of a partnership between classes as a bit like a marriage. And of course, later on, the marriage to Margaret cements that alliance between North and South, between the new, progressive, industrial North and the traditional, perhaps more compassionate South. So we've got that marriage of the best qualities of both those places. Here again, Mr. Thornton says, my only wish is to have the opportunity of cultivating some intercourse with the hands beyond the mere cash nexus. So he wants some sort of relationship with the hands in his future factory that he thinks he will be employed in because he no longer owns a factory. He wants something beyond a cash nexus. He wants a relationship that's more than just I give you money and you work for me. And he points out, Gaskell again points out here, unless the working out of such institutions bring the individuals of the different classes into actual personal contact. So again, this feeling that these sides, these people will continue to clash unless we actually get to know each other. Such intercourse is the very breath of life. So a metaphor there, this sense that it's crucial, it's absolutely crucial that we have some sort of relationship with each other beyond the cash nexus. And here he talks about the importance of, rather than taking complete plans and imposing them upon the workforce, asking the workforce to be involved in the planning stages, and therefore increasing their interest and their feeling like they are actually involved in it. But at every hitch, interest would be felt by an increasing number of men, and at last its success in working come to be desired by all, as all had borne a part in the formation of the plan. And somebody asks, do you think this might prevent strikes? He says, no, not at all. My utmost expectation, the best that I can expect, is that it might make strikes not the bitter, venomous sources of hatred they have hitherto been. So Gaskell doesn't go as far as saying this will mean that we no longer have strikes, but perhaps the strikes themselves will be conducted better, will be more harmonious, not bitter, not venomous, which means poisonous, not about hatred, but just a much more civilized kind of industrial action. And he says to Miss Hale, they don't speak to each other much because they're both kind of a bit shy. Uh, he says he had a round robin from some of his men. I think they mean a petition. I suspect in Higgins's handwriting, stating their wish to work for me if ever I was in a position to employ men again on my own behalf. So we see how much that relationship between Mr. Thornton and his workers has improved. They really appreciate that he has changed and that he is a good person to work for. And that's it for that chapter.